I'll show you how fast it goes. Look at this thing. 2S battery pack right out of the box. I mean, that thing is just ripping. This has to be one of the most talked about RC cars in 2025 right now, and it hasn't really been out that long. How's it going, everyone? Greg here with RC Driver, and today we're going to take a look at the Traxxas Ford RS200 Mini Rally VXL. I'm finally going to unbox this thing. I'm going to tell you what you need to know about it. We're going to go over some of the things people are saying about it, and I'm going to take it out for a drive. So I've been traveling, which has made me a little late to the party in getting a video up. I've actually had the car for a couple weeks now, and I did manage to get up a Facebook post. And wow, did it strike up a bunch of comments from the pricing to it's made of plastic to not understanding the mini size. And that's some of the stuff I'm going to go over today. But first up, I want to show you what comes in the box. Obviously, you get the assembled car, painted, detailed, electronics installed. You get the TQI radio system. You get a 2S battery pack, a USB charger, USB-C charger. You're gonna have to provide the power supply for that. They give you the instruction sheet, the standard pinion gear, because their high-speed pinion gear is already installed in there. Some basic tools, shock preload clips, and some numbers to throw on the body. Let's get into things by talking about the body, and it's a pretty cool one at that. It's a Ford RS200, and it is licensed. Now, I'm not gonna pretend to be a big rally guy, give you all these facts about rally car racing. The only one I really know is Tommy Mackinnon's Mitsubishi. That was my thing, but from what I gather, my little bit of research, this was a mid-engine car, ran in the Group B class in its era, and I think it looks pretty cool. I like that Traxxas went out and picked something that isn't the cookie cutter Subaru or Ford Focus that we've seen so many versions of in RC. They came out with something unique, and it's not exactly to the spec of the real car. If you search it up on Google, do a little research on it, the graphics are a little bit darker, and obviously some of the lines are a little bit different, but this is a very cool looking body. I love that they have the ductwork on top and the shape of the spoiler, even the dip in the hood for venting. But where they kind of lack a little bit here for me is the lights. We've got this awesome rally light set on the front, which has LEDs in it, but they don't have light buckets here. And I think that just would have set this body off a little bit more. And obviously they didn't give us clear windows, something that we really want them to do and really wish they would do. Hopefully they offer a clear body. And if you want to paint one up on your own, you'd be able to do that if you're really into this car. But I like that it doesn't have any body clips. It does have the 4 little finger tabs below here that you just pop these out and the body comes right off. Just a single plug to plug in the LEDs. I want to get into the chassis next, but I feel we should talk about the size of the car. And when it was first announced, people saw the name Mini and they instantly thought they were getting a mini size car. And for the price, people were just going wild on the internet. But here's the thing, guys, it's based on the Mini chassis. So see the Mini Slash here, the Mini XRT, the Mini Rally has the same style of chassis. So the car itself is actually very similar in size to a standard 1/10 scale off-road rally car. This one is a little bit wider, and I think it's got to handle a bit better. Let's pull the body off, and quick shout out to the inner crash structure here that has supports all the way up to the roof in case you roll this thing over. And now we can check out the Mini chassis. This is a composite chassis. They've got a lot of bracing down below here with this honeycomb, and then they've got a backbone where the drive shaft goes through. And it's a pretty strong chassis setup. There's a little bit of give to composite, which is good. So if you crash, it's going to give before it breaks. And some people will tell you that, hey, you got to go get an aluminum chassis. And well, the problem with that is if you get a 6061 chassis, you have the potential of bending that. So the debate between the materials will never end. Everybody thinks they know what is better, but a composite chassis is a good selection, especially for ready to run cars. The battery tray here, this will accept a number of different batteries from Traxxas. So you could throw that 2S battery pack that it comes with in there. And then they've got this little clip that you take off for larger capacity battery packs. They have a receiver cover on this. It isn't a sealed box. Then you can see the shock towers are a bit different from the minis that we've seen before. It's got supports for the rear bumper. You can see that they've got the loops in there for impact. I like the splitter up front. That looks like it's got some good protection too. Independent suspension, front and rear, oil-filled coilover shocks. It's got similar suspension arms, steering knuckles, and caster blocks, even rear hubs that we've seen on the Minis before. So these are nice and strong. The only downside to these is they did go and use the screw pins, which I'm not a huge fan of. Just a little tip for you during your maintenance, check those, make sure they're not backing out on you. For the steering links, they are fixed, and then it has their dual bell crank steering with a servo saver setup. Into the driveline, front, center, and rear gear differentials. The front and rear are the planetary style gear differentials, and that center diff is going to allow the car to distribute power front to rear. Takes a little bit of stress off those planetary gear differentials. And one thing to note is it does, I kind of mentioned this before, it has the larger high-speed gear in it out of the box. So if you're planning on running this full punch in dirt or grass, you're definitely going to want to go and throw the optional gear in there just so you don't overheat the electronics. We got slider drive shafts out to the wheels and 12mm hexes. We got a grippy looking lug tire on it. It's got the offset wheels, so you got plenty of clearance on the inside. And it's got the rubber inner carcass that makes it a bit firm. It doesn't actually have foam inserts like we're used to. And the rear tires are a bit softer. So this is going to give you some grip, and this will give you a little bit of slip in the front. Now onto the electronics. Showed you guys the TQI radio system before, and that means we've got a VXL brushless system in here. This has actually got a handle 2 to 3S right out of the box. There is a cooling fan on the speed controller. It uses their ID plug, and then it has their 2075X steering servo, which does have a metal gear set inside. Now I think we should touch on the pricing, which is $429.99, and that's a bit up there in comparison to some of the other cars that are out there, and even comparing it to the Mini XRT, which is $389.99, and it has a lot of the same components in it. Maybe they're charging a lot because of the licensing on the body, I don't know. But here's the thing, guys. There was a lot of arguments out there on the price and a lot of name calling going on, and we have to dial things back. I learned this early on in RC when I worked in a hobby shop that people will simply buy what they like and they work hard to get what they want. And I don't think anybody should be bashed online for it. Back when I got my first four-wheel drive racing buggy, it actually cost more than this did, and it was a build kit that didn't come with any electronics. RC has never been cheap, and when it comes down to it, you just buy what you like. All right, with that said, let's go out, have some fun with this car. So I wanted to start off with some speed runs, but the two lots where I speed test are full. So I'm here at the dirt lot. We're just gonna get this thing dirty. It still has a high-speed pinion gear in there and the 2S battery pack. I absolutely love this place. This is where I bring rally cars because I don't really have a rally spot to go and run. So just blasting around here in this hard-packed dirt and sand is so much fun, especially when you get into the power slides. Look at this. This thing is awesome, guys. I'll show you how fast it goes. Look at this thing. 2S battery pack right out of the box. I mean, that thing is just ripping. Roll into the throttle. Big power slide. Hopefully you guys saw that on the camera. Whoa. That thing is just a ripper. That's the cool part. Oh, just kick it in backwards, throw it on the throttle, yeah. Before I do any more ripping around the parking lots here, I'm gonna swap out this pinion gear just so I don't overheat this system. It's just 4 screws to get the motor plate off. I'm gonna get this pinion gear out. Of course, gotta move the motor. And they've got this QR code to show how to change the pinion. But they didn't update this QR code link, so I don't know which holes on the motor plate to use for that pinion gear, and I don't have the instructions with me. So we're gonna go back and run the high-speed pinion. So I guess I could have just sat there and figured out which holes were right for the smaller pinion gear, but I want to go and drive this thing again. So actually what I did was, I moved the motor from the factory position just one hole, and it seems like the drivetrain is a lot quieter, a lot smoother now. Look at this thing handling on the rocks, guys. Those are skipping across. This thing's pretty cool. You guys ever see those chase rallies where they run after the car? That's really where the action's at, I think. I think people, though, are just gonna bomb this around parking lots. Little turf field action, why not? Oh, we got some serious grip now. Little slide in the rear. Well, that's pretty awesome. That is super awesome, look at that. totally see these things being a blast on turf. Just the right amount of slide in the rear. I mean, it's way more planted. And that's one of the hard parts about, you know, a manufacturer setting up a car, is they don't know what surface you're going to run on. There's just so many different options here. I mean, it seemed to go pretty good on the gravel. Oh, even a traction roll? Wasn't expecting that one. So obviously in some areas you might have to do a little setup work. It just depends on the surface you run on. That's what's hard for the manufacturers, just trying to come up with an all-around general setup. I like how the fronts is lifting on it. That's cool, guys. Just threw a fresh 2S pack in there. Let's see what we get for a top speed. Is ready to go. Let's do this. Oh man, it's got rip. I'll give it that. All right, let's do this. Moving, come right at us. Oh, serious braking. And we got 40 miles an hour. Back up run. Love it. Absolutely love it. And we got 40 as a backup. So I had a pretty successful first run with the mini rally car, ran through this stack of battery packs here and had an absolute blast driving it. I do wish they gave us the car with the standard 20-tooth pinion gear installed from the factory. I know they want to give us that high-speed experience right out of the box, but I'm a little worried about people getting this as a first car, running that and not monitoring their temperatures. And unfortunately, the video link for installing it properly wasn't loaded up when I tried it, so I did run on that high-speed pinion gear, and I noticed that the gear mesh is pretty tight. You could hear it whining, and when I clocked it just one hole different from the factory position, the drivetrain was much quieter. And I ran through these 2 packs with no gear issues, so I think that's something you might want to explore, and maybe when you throw that standard 22 pinion in there, the gear mesh is going to be fine, but I do want you to be aware of that. I think the car handles really well, and that's something different from a standard 1/10 scale rally car. This I think is much more stable because of the wider stance on it. I think it handles well. It's obviously fast, and depending on the terrain you're running it on, you may need to do a little bit of suspension work to get it dialed in some more. But the platform proved to be a lot of fun. And the cool part about Traxxas is if you have local hobby shops, especially here in the US, they most likely have parts for this car, and they have option parts for this car. And that's something some of the other rally cars out there don't have. They don't have that easy accessibility. They don't have the option parts. And yes, you could go order stuff online. A lot of people do that nowadays, but you know, I like to think of both sides for people that are supporting hobby shops. And that's actually one more thing to think about with the pricing of this. These guys are pricing products so hobby shops make some money too. And when you talk about those other rally cars out there that sell direct to consumer, they're cutting out the hobby shops. They're cutting out part of our hobby, the people that are helping expand our hobby. So that's a little consideration. I know some of you do think of that. But yes, the price is a bit high. And I think when it comes down to it, the people that really like this car, that think it's cool, they're going to go for it. If you got to have one, I'll have links for this in the video description below.